Okay, well, here I am. Second live stream. I think I figured out the horizontal configuration. I hooked up the microphone today, so I'm hoping that this goes well. I'm not sure that it will. This is a learning process. And guess what, guys? I make a lot of mistakes. So let's hope I am learning from them. So cultural Christianity. I'm seeing a lot on YouTube. And some of the takeaway is that cultural Christianity is the taking the culture of Christianity, all of the things that the world says is good about Christianity, and that don't lie, don't follow all of the tenets of the Christian faith, don't steal, all of these things, but don't actually, or not necessarily, ascribe to following Jesus and doing the things that he said we should do. And that would include, like, you could have cultural Christianity without belief in God or belief in what Christianity teaches. And to me, that you can't have one without the other. I mean, it's the old Frank Sinatra song, right? Love and marriage. You can't have one without the other. And right now, people seem to want all of the benefits of Christianity without all of the responsibilities of Christianity. And I think that goes right down to what I've noticed about culture or American culture for years, is that we don't want that personal responsibility. And I'm talking we as a culture, not we individually. I happen to like having that personal responsibility. I understand that to have free will, to be able to do what it is you want to do, you have to take some accountability and have some responsibility about you. So this cultural Christianity stuff, trying to separate the wheat from the chaff, if you would. If you're trying to separate what makes Christianity Christianity and just take all the benefits without any of the responsibilities is kind of crazy to me. So I don't know. I'd like to invite, if you're watching this and you want to participate, I'd like to invite you to comment right now. It's just me running this channel, so I don't have anybody to moderate comments. If you are available around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time and you would like to moderate, drop me a message. We can contact each other and kind of see how that goes. But I do read the comments later. So if you would like to comment, I will respond. It may take me a day or two, but I will respond. Well, where do you fall in? Cultural Christianity. Do you think this is good? Do you think it's bad? And just kind of as an example, I watched a video the other day where, hitting a bumpy road. Watched a video the other day where the person doing the video had an interview that they were playing of Donald Trump, and he was asking Trump, what do you feel like you need to do to go to heaven? What sends somebody to heaven? And Trump said, being a good person. And that's the classic response that when you go through trainings, when you start evangelical training, which I did Evangelism Explosion back in the 90s. It was a training where we were going door to door and telling people the good news about Christ. That was one of the first things we were trained, was ask that question. If you were to die today and go to heaven and God asked you, why should I let you in? What would your answer be? And so many times the default answer in the course study, and then the answer we got most often was, well, I feel like I'm a good person. I've never killed anybody. you know? And that is the benchmark for what good and evil is to a lot of people, and especially people who feel like they are Christian when in fact they are just Christian and culture only. In fact, there are many verses where throughout the New Testament where sin is put in proper perspective, and Jesus himself, says, you say, I've never murdered anybody, but Jesus says if you've even looked at your brother in hatred, you've committed murder. And I don't know how many people can say they've never hated somebody, even if it's for a split second. You're driving down the road, as I am now, and somebody cuts you off, or somebody does something that you're not happy with. As I speak, I've got a delivery truck with its flashers on directly in front of me. Yes, it makes me a little angry. It used to make me just rage because I've got somewhere to be. And that creates that hatred in your heart. We're called to be better than that. Once we accept Christ and Christ begins to change us, we have to aspire to something higher or better than what we are. And going around and getting angry with people, even if you're driving, it's not the Christian thing to do. And so I am challenging myself this year. I've been challenging myself through this last year, but really getting serious about challenging myself to stop. When I recognize and realize that I am sinning, when I realize that I am acting as if I follow these Christian principles, but I don't actually follow them in certain areas, I want to stop that. I want to get to a point where I am following Christ. And am I going to slip up? Yes. But for too long, I have put off, confronting my own anger when I'm driving, especially. Now, I don't have a whole lot of anger when I'm out and around people or things are going on, but I have an issue with anger when I'm in a vehicle, just because so many people do so many things that are reckless, that endanger other people. Am I right to be angry? Well, I'll let God decide that, but I should not ever yell, scream, get upset, and some of the things that I have done in the past when I've been driving. So really working on calming down, really working on becoming the person that I know or that I think God would be pleased with. And that takes a lot of self-sacrifice. And I think that's the one thing that, one of the few things that we lack here in the U.S. when it comes to Christianity. The first I mentioned before is personal responsibility. Take responsibility for your actions. We struggle with that. I struggle with that. I don't want to be responsible for my actions, but I've had to condition myself over the years that when I am at fault for something, I try to own up to it. When I feel like I'm at fault, when I recognize that I'm at fault. So that's step one, is recognizing your own personal responsibility and your own culpability in certain situations. Number two, that then is to make that change, to sacrifice whatever it is in yourself. And usually it's pride. Pride is a very ugly thing. It's a very dangerous thing. And I think I see a lot of that, personally, I believe I see a lot of that in past decisions by Trump. And, you may say, or he's different, or whatever the case may be. listen, I'm praying for the man. I want him to succeed. I want him to do well in this second presidential office, or the what is it called? The second presidential term. I want him to do well. I pray that he does well, not just for his sake, but for the sake of this whole country. But what I've seen out of him is a lot of pride, a lot of, I don't make mistakes. Okay. Don't know how much of that you guys caught. I'm going to try this again. What I've seen out of Trump is a lot of pride, a lot of not owning mistakes, a lot of, blaming other people, other sides, whatever it is. And I know some of that is your typical everyday politics. So I'm not necessarily blaming him for any of this unilaterally. Like, I'm not aiming this directly at him. But right now he is the president-elect. So what I've seen is a lot of that. What I'm praying for is that he gets past that he actually does start acting like a president. He does start treating people with respect. Does start listening to people that he doesn't agree with. Even if he doesn't give the other side their way, and I would never want that for either side, to always give in. But what I would like to see is that you at least listen and that you consider that point of view. Now, I'm not advocating here for marginalizing our Christian beliefs. Absolutely not. I think there's great record in the Old Testament of rulers who received both Christian advice and non-Christian advice, and there are plenty of times when they took both sides of the advice. So what I'm advocating here is not to go against God, but rather to at least let the other side be heard. Let them share their grievances. Let their complaints be known. Let their petitions be known. And then make an informed decision based on all of the information you've got. We should be doing that in our everyday life, not necessarily going out there and screaming and yelling that, this is God's truth, this is God's plan. It is. But when we scream and we yell and we drown out the voices from the other side, then we look terrible to other people. And we have to remember, we are ambassadors of Christ. Everything we do, everything we say, when we take on and we say we are Christian, we claim we are Christian, we are putting on the robes to be the ambassador for Christ. And we should not take that for granted. We should not take that lightly. That is something that it's a responsibility. We are responsible for what we say and do, and how people who are not familiar with Christ, and actually people that are familiar with Christ as well, how they perceive us is going to it's going to be dictated by how we've acted, right? What we've said, what we've done, things that we've decided to do to other people. So, for example, if you're talking with somebody who believes in abortion, and categorically, I don't believe that abortion is a right thing. I think it should only be used when the life of the mother is in peril, right? So any other reason, don't want them, I don't think that's a valid reason. Can't afford it, I don't think that's a valid reason. any of these other reasons, there we have avenues, we have abortion, we have other things, and I'll get into all of that in another video. There's a very specific reason I believe this way, but I believe that it's a issue that I'm not going to, I'm just not going to budge on. So when I discuss that with people who feel differently, the last thing I want to do is to go in and dig my heels in and say, doesn't matter what you say, you're not going to change my mind. Rather, what I would do is ask them how they feel about it and listen. And I mean, really listen to what they have to say. But I want them to feel heard, and I want them to be heard. More than just feel heard, I want them to be heard. I want to hear what they have to say, and I want to address what they have to say, but I want to do it in a knowledgeable fashion, right? I don't want them to feel like, well, I just overlooked what they thought and all of their emotions and all of their pain and all of their personal experience, just trivialized it and then spouted off what they've heard pretty much since they've formulated that opinion, right? So what I am proposing is that we listen, that we be slow to speak. There's an old funny kind of saying that I've heard often in church. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we speak. And I take that to heart. Not necessarily that saying, but I have always wanted to listen and to observe and to get as much information as I can before I open my mouth and make myself look foolish. I say always, I mean probably since adulthood I've tried to do that. And that's not saying I didn't make mistakes. We all make mistakes, especially from the ages of 18 to mine was about 24, 25 years old. I was making those really dumb, really stupid mistakes. But the main thing I would tell myself at that age, if I could talk to myself now, is to tell me, just shut up, just listen. Just stop thinking for a minute. Not necessarily thinking. Stop formulating a response and start listening to what the other person has to say. And you will be infinitely smarter. I tell people all the time, if you want to appear smarter to other people, the biggest thing you can do is shut your mouth. And I don't mean it bad. Even I have that problem. When I look to speak before I've really listened, then it causes me to look stupid. And the same goes, guys, with God. We should be listening to God. Yes, speak. Yes, let your petitions be known. Yes, let God know how you're feeling. All of these things you should be doing. And I think we do that in abundance. Christians who actively pray will talk to God quite a bit. But not all Christians who do this listen. And how do we listen to God? Well, you listen to that still small voice. I think I've heard people say it's like a whisper in the ear. And I've experienced some of this. It's the whole reason I started this YouTube channel was based on a whisper or a voice I heard in a Mardel restroom, of all things. So in Mardel Christian Bookstore, in the restroom, and I looked in the mirror and heard that I should do this, and keep in mind that it's not my channel, this is God's channel. It belongs to him, and whatever he gives to me, I then give to you. And I haven't always been faithful in that, but that's why it's important that we pray, that we get connected, and that we stay connected to God. So listening more than speaking. In fact, I enjoy talking to you all. I enjoy speaking to whoever may be watching this video. And if you are watching me right now, I am very happy that you're here. I'm very happy that you chose to tune in. But I am not keen on this type of media because I enjoy getting an instant feedback. And so if you are watching this or any of my videos, I want you to comment, because I would love that feedback. It helps me. It helps me to know what other people are thinking or saying, to be able to respond to it. And if not, I feel like I'm just sitting here rambling. And if I'm just here rambling, then nobody gets anything out of that. But yeah, I really find that when we get disconnected from God and we try to live a Christian faith and live all of the beliefs and live all of the statutes and all of the things and really become more legalistic than having a true, genuine connection with God, then I think we will lose ourselves in that. And we'll become what is warned about in the Bible, that we become lukewarm Christians. The kind of Christians that Jesus spits out of his mouth. And my biggest fear is that I would become like that, and I would become, as he talks about in Revelation, when they come to him and say, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name? Didn't we do all these things? Says, away from me, for I never knew you. I don't want that. I don't want that for me. I definitely don't want that for you. So join me, would you? Let's become more like Christ and less like cultural Christians who carry the term Christian only in actions that they do and not in the faith that they hold. And it's okay to do good works. It's okay. I mean, you should be doing good works, but you should be doing them because you want to please God, not because you want to earn any kind of benefit in heaven. When I did nice things for my parents, when I do nice things at home, I'm not doing them to earn brownie points or anything like that. I just want to make life easier for those around me. I mean, after all, isn't that what it's all about? When you give, and God knew this, he designed us this way. When we give, we end up feeling more fulfilled. We end up feeling better about ourselves. And we end up feeling like we have a purpose. We have some need that is being met, that is being filled. But when we take, you can't ever get enough. The more money you have, the more you want. The more cars you have, the more you want. The more things you have, the more you want. I don't know about you. I'm feeling a bit gorged on all the things that I've got in life. When I look around the rest of the world and I see there's not half of the world that has what we have in this country. And I don't make a whole lot of money. I don't get a whole lot of of things. People wouldn't call me rich by any means in this country. But around the world, I might as well be Elon Musk or Bill Gates to somebody in Bangladesh, or, any number of countries who are not as well off as we are. So I for one want to shed this cultural Christianity. I don't just want to see it gone out of my life or the lives of those around me, but out of all lives. If you are truly a follower of Christ, let's follow Christ. Let's not just pick and choose which commands we want to follow because we think it'll make our lives easier or make everyone's life better. Let's really hunker down and do this. Well, if you've watched this far, I thank you for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a great weekend. I don't know if I'll be able to post anything this weekend, but if I don't, you guys take care. I hope to see you in the next video. God bless.